Most singers believe that jaw tension really lives in isolation just right here in your jaw. But what if there were a broader connection throughout the entirety of your body, where jaw and hips and your breath were all connected? Let's talk about this. My name is Deanna Braywick. I want to welcome you to my channel, Practice with Deanna, where we integrate all aspects of the singing experience with body, breath, and voice, and where I talk about the core breath method, where we are really integrating all of ourselves into this singing experience to experience more ease, more resonance, and more joy. So, as I said, most of us think tension just starts right here in the jaw. Well, what if we looked at our bodies and our voices as an entire system, right? As one, integrated. What if your jaw actually isn't the problem? What if the problem is living somewhere else in your body and your jaw's compensating? Okay? Something to consider. So I want to show you a connection today that may completely transform your awareness around this. So our voices never work in isolation. No, they're part of a whole coordinated system, very much connected to this pressure system, which then leads us into breath support. And so when we have a vocal issue or tension and we're just, laser focused going after that one thing, we can oftentimes create more physical tension, more vocal tension, and oftentimes more mental and emotional tension. So as I mentioned, my core breath method it aims to integrate body, breath, and voice, addressing it as one integrated system. And so when we are experiencing tension in one area, it actually may be a call for help in another area. And it's up to us to become observant and get curious and to check this out. So I'm not saying that looking at, releasing one part of your body will immediately transform and release the other. No, but I am talking about recognizing and addressing patterns of coordination in your body. This is essential, and I'm telling you, the more you work in this way, the more vocal freedom you are going to experience. And I speak from experience here. So before we go any deeper, let's feel this for ourselves. So I invite you to take a deep breath in. And as you sigh it out, release in your body. Relax, let your shoulders go. Let's do this one more time. Take a deep breath in. And relax. And just finding one moment of stillness and relaxation here. See if you can release any holding of tension in the body. This is where we want to start before we go into what's next. So just taking a moment to find a release of tension. All right. Now, in this next part, I'm going to ask you to tighten your throat and notice what happens in the rest of your body. Okay, let that go. Take a deep breath in. Release. I'm going to have you do it again, and I want you to notice particularly what's happening in your face, what's happening in your belly, in your chest, what's happening in your hips and your pelvic floor. All right, so let's try that again. We're going to tighten the throat. Okay. What did you notice? What did you notice in your breath? Did you notice any holding? For me, I notice an immediate holding and gripping of my breath. It does not move. I also notice gripping in my diaphragm, in my belly. I notice it all the way down in my pelvic floor. I notice a whole gripping throughout my entire body. Let's try that one more time. And I want you to, again, find that grip, that tightness in the throat, and then I want you to consciously release it and notice what happens throughout the rest of your body. Did you notice that? Right? So this exemplifies and shows you how your body is naturally trying to redistribute pressure and tension. How the tensing or release of one part of your body may cause the same in another. Now, why does this happen? Let's talk about the 3 diaphragms. So we have the respiratory diaphragm, which we all know and love and have heard a lot about as singers. We also have the pelvic diaphragm, and then we have the laryngeal diaphragm, all right? Now, this isn't officially recognized as a diaphragm, but let's look at, I like to call it as such for our purposes because it is separating these compartments and it is part of this whole pressure system. So these 3 diaphragms are always working together. They're talking together to balance pressure in our bodies. This is really important for us as singers because this is where we begin to really understand what breath support is, okay? So this jaw and hip connection is actually nothing new. It has been something that has been acknowledged by body workers and practitioners of alternative medicines like Ayurveda and Chinese medicine for years. But we're beginning now to come into more of an awareness of this, especially as we learn more about the role of fascia in our bodies. So we're looking at the lines of fascia moving through the entirety of our bodies, and along these chains we find connections between the jaw and the pelvis. How interesting. Let's also look at the way the jaw crosses the midline of the body and there's joints on either side. Where is this mirrored? Let's look down at the pelvis, crossing the midline of the body, hip joints on either side. We have the sacrum crossing the midline with the SI joints on either side. So we have this mirror, one being at the top of the spine, one being at the bottom. Okay? And the spine in yoga, we look at the spine as really the foundation or the core of all health. Okay? And so we're looking at the top of this and the bottom, the bookends of the spine where health is really springing from. So I think it's just a really interesting mirroring in our bodies to become aware of and understanding that these frequently participate together in your whole body coordination. All right, so once again, let's just check back in with what this might feel like for you. So I want to invite you to take a really nice, deep, expansive breath. And as you breathe in, I want you to release in your larynx, release in your respiratory diaphragm. So it's moving down, right? That's what happens on our inhales, and also releasing in the pelvic floor. If you're sitting, you might even feel a little bit more, and you want to feel almost like your pelvic floor is blossoming open on that chair. Okay, so just take a couple of inhales like that, and you're imagining like this elevator maybe moving down and slowly facilitating a softening and release through your entire body as you bring the air in. And you'll notice, I mean, when we're bringing air in, the lungs right here are the only things that are really inflating with air. But if we're recognizing this is an entire pressure system, we then understand why the pelvic floor is also releasing. Really interesting stuff. So let's just take a moment here and let's practice that. One more breath, allowing your awareness to really feel into this. So this is really like the start of this awareness and understanding that you are fully connected. So what does this look like then if you were to bring it to your singing? So first of all, I would encourage you to start with that breath. Before you head into any of your vocal warm-ups, start out with that breath and just really feel into it. If you want a practice that guides you through this in detail and sets you up beautifully for singing, you can grab it below. It's for free. It's in the description. But I encourage you to start your singing practice with that. This will save you so much time and so much stress and tension. I have so many singers who have responded to me being like, oh my gosh, this totally transformed how my voice felt today, or I used it in the middle of a recording session. So give it a try. It's free. So this is going to lead you in detail into a full experience of what that breath is like. Okay? So we're starting from the beginning with a recognition of how everything is coordinated, everything works together. Then as you are singing, if you are noticing tension in your jaw or your tongue in this area here, I encourage you to see if you can find some release by moving your hips. And this can be in circles, this can be side to side, keeping your knees bent, this can be hip tilts, right? There's so many ways in which you can mobilize your hips here to see if it can bring any relief to this tension. And ultimately, when we begin to free our voices like this, we experience more ease, we experience easier resonance, perhaps more sound, more projection, and ultimately more joy, right? So I encourage you, I invite you to explore this coordination in your body, to explore the relationship, and to begin to, as you are singing, acknowledge how your body is looking to coordinate with itself and to work with itself in integration. So you're never just singing from here. This awareness is life-changing. I'm telling you, this is what will set your voice free. So again, if you want my free practice to explore this in depth, you can get it below. Be sure you are following for more videos like this, and also let me know in the comments what you felt, especially as we practice here together today. Did you notice any holding? Did you notice any release? And if you go away and sing and practice and you notice something, please come back and tell me. I would love to hear. Thank you so much for joining me.